Welcome to TradeNameBear.com. This is John. This report is for the 22nd of March, and we're getting a little bounce back here from the dip that we witnessed over the weekend. Wasn't horrible or anything like that. It's just we were soft in DOC readings here with the midterm buyers below, red long-term buyers falling as well, and no real activity from short-term buyers in steel. And shorts were still adding into the setup. Now, we're seeing a little bit of short-term buyer activity coming into this. Also, a little spike here back in magenta on the power mode too. That typically is going to be more net positive, but it's right after that usually you would get a little bit of softness activity potentially, depending on what we get from DOC after the move. Easy thing here is you've got two levels: the deal slow there, magenta 3904 and the 3919. Those become the benchmarks, below that magenta line, clearly short, above the 3919 yellow fast, long, and then it's just a matter of playing that range in between that we're in right now. That's simple enough from the 5K chart and that. Likewise, NQ, trying to make the similar type of pop. Better DOC from a DOC red standpoint, which means that it could have the potential for leading some of this malaise, well, at least leading out of it, if it's able to get back above that 50% and actually produce turnaround move here. We're seeing midterm buyers as well as shorts fading off a little bit here. We'll see if that's able to maintain. Again, we can shake out both of them, ES and NQ, NASDAQ, and S&P both performing equally on that. And a stall of the gold move here. It's just been nice long-term buyer rising red, pretty consistent within that. No objection to it from a euro standpoint. Not a whole lot of changes. Pretty soft within this, and just holding on. I mean, we've got good support here with that DOC red rising. It's been enough to keep it pretty stable, despite elevated. I'm going to ignore all my little dots, working out some additional coding factors with it. But overall, from the day, I mean, from our buy signals to the early short DOC spreads, it was pretty clean. I think that whenever we see these buy setups that are coming without having that nearby dip of steel to zero, I always want to be a little more cautious with those. In fact, that's part of programming I'm doing right now because it's an interesting setup as it shows. Some of these are prone to be soft before turning around. So I think that will help even further on negating false longs, which is always a priority so that you don't get caught into false trigger signals. Likewise, it gives greater ability to follow shorts through it for more extended runs, and that definitely is helpful, particularly when we get these crossovers of the steel coming down, and orange spikes up where you also have green fading over. It's also ideal when red is starting to move lower. So this is the beginning of that, but you can see that within a bar or so, red starts to do the same thing, and then you get the magenta that came in and confirmed it, but didn't do a whole lot because it tried to turn around, and reasonably so. There should have been a little more oomph to this setup given where it was, but literally rolled over pretty much right away. And even when we had the positive setup, which would have been right here, pretty much turned around and negated and went into a real free-for-all as you had steel going below, orange above, and then every time it tried from there, it was just on declining red DOC. And when that happens, when you're actually seeing your direction line below the 4, you don't really stand much of a chance for significant turnarounds. Kind of follow that too. Happens even where we dipped right here. It wasn't until it got right back above that it started to capture any movement. In fact, that maybe an additional add-on to some of these, just so that you're not buying oversold that's going to stay oversold, which would be helpful. Sir, currently we are tracking where we're at now, which would be coming off of continued rising DSC red. I always look at those and think of a $1 million line. In fact, if you kind of draw that trend line, it's sort of just one of those that continued rising P2, P3s, and you get X2s, and that's just pushed this right back up. So there wasn't a whole lot of movement from post-market in that, and this is just making up for what happened on Friday from the late afternoon sell-off. In fact, we're exactly at that 39.10, which was resistance point from there before. So there you have it, the long and the short of it. Clearly I'm around, doing better. I was working on a lot of program ideas, so we'll see if we get all those incorporated in time to be able to send out hopefully soon. As always though, trade well. I will post them as Skype chat, anything relevant.